Hi everyone. So in this video, we're going to go through what Amazon Wholesale actually is, right? Because there's a lot of information out there and a lot of content out there in regards to what wholesale is, right? And what we're going to do is basically in this video, just break down what wholesale actually is, okay? Very simple. So first of all, what is wholesale? It's a way to build a real Amazon business without creating your own brand. So for those of you here that associate Amazon with creating your own brand, right, well, you can do that and create your own brand, get in touch with manufacturers in China, private label your product and sell this stock on Amazon. That is not what wholesale is. That's private label, right? So with wholesale, we do not need to go out and outreach to manufacturers and create our own brand that we will then need to run ads for on Amazon and obviously create a brand registry account for on Amazon. So that is not what wholesale is. Wholesale is something a bit different, and that is buying branded products in bulk from suppliers and then reselling them on Amazon. Everyday products which you are familiar with, right? Products which you will find in your retailers, for example, in your brick and mortar stores, products which are already branded, which already have recognition and already have sales velocity, right? And we are buying them from brands or official distributors at trade pricing and then reselling them on Amazon for a profit, right? So we are doing B2B, right? We are contacting wholesalers, distributors, brands, procuring stock at trade pricing and utilizing obviously the margin that we have there to sell obviously for a profit on Amazon, right? And now the great thing with that is these products that we are buying already have demand. They already have developed trust with customers because they're everyday brands. They're brands which have been around for years, brands which customers already use, right? So there is no need whatsoever to guess or gamble. Okay, we're not creating a new brand from China, okay, and we don't have any essential gambling going on, right? Because if we create a brand new brand, which we've obviously manufactured in China, brought into the UK, we don't know if it's going to sell, right? We do not know if it's going to sell. However, with these brands that we are buying wholesale, we have data there which tells us how much they move. We already have the data there, okay? And what we're doing is basically just reselling that stock on Amazon for a profit. We're not inventing new products, like I've said, we are plugging into existing demand. Now, why does it work, right? Let's go through that now. It's low risk, right? Because we are buying stock which already sells. We are buying stock which has been selling on Amazon for a number of years. We can look back at the historical data of this stock and get an understanding or a pretty good understanding of how this stock will perform for us when we sell on these listings, right? We can get an idea of what sorts of prices that they sell at, how much they sell, okay? What sorts of velocities they sell at, what are competitions doing, what will happen if we were to jump on the listing, right? We can get a really, really good idea on how we can expect the stock to perform for us, okay? And it also works because it's extremely scalable, right? But it's only scalable if it's approached correctly. That's very important. And that's not the point of this video, okay? The point of this video is not for me to dive deep into all the fundamentals of the business and where most people go wrong. Because what happens is most people have the wrong fundamentals in place. They try and scale the business. They're never able to scale it. Why? Because they have the completely wrong understanding of wholesale. They think wholesalers, which they follow on Google, are going to give them profits consistently and they're going to be able to scale off these. No. There's so much more involved to the business. But if you do it correctly and if you approach to a much higher level, which I go through, by the way, in the Wholesale Academy, and I've helped many people, right, take that next step and actually learn how to scale a wholesale business. If you want to get involved with that or just have any questions about the Wholesale Academy, click the link down below in the description and you can book a free call in with either me or one of the team to have a chat about that. But back to the video, right? Scalable. Once we have the right fundamentals in place, it is scalable. Once we have found these good suppliers, these good products, negotiated on these good products, right? Got prices, got products, got suppliers that no one else will be able to have access to, we can then reorder and scale the business. We can then start to delegate tasks, outsource tasks, right? Whereby we have proven systems in place, not faulty systems, because a lot of people that struggle with wholesale try to delegate faulty systems, right? Systems which are basically setting them up for failure, right? So it's scalable once you know what you're doing. Okay, no brand needed. For example, no packaging, no customer service, no logos on products. Well, you will need logos and some element of branding when it comes to creating your website and establishing your brand presence. It's not as intense as creating packaging for products, dealing with customer service, protecting your brand directly to the customer, if that makes sense. Okay, data driven. Like I said earlier on in the video, we are literally looking at data. We are basing projections of data. We are using this data to make all our decisions. So the risk is very, very limited, right? If you know what you are doing, you can use historical data to project future sales, right? To project how listings will perform. Okay. So then that gives us a good idea on so many things, what sorts of prices we can aim to purchase stock at, what sorts of products which we want to buy, different opportunities that other sellers aren't able to sell. If we're able to read data in ways that other sellers aren't able to read data, we're going to be presented with opportunities, that other sellers simply won't be able to fathom, right, or grasp. Okay, and wholesale is extremely efficient once you've got it set up. Okay, once you first build the foundation, spend X amount of months building these foundations, developing these relationships with suppliers, finding suppliers other people can't find, negotiating with these suppliers, taking calculated risks, taking deals which other sellers might not take to, for example, open up opportunities later down the line. Once you've set up these foundations, you can then reorder and systemize the business, right? Systemize with an S, okay? You can then systemize the business and achieve the results you want to achieve. You can then achieve those consistent profits every single month. Now, I've just put a real example here for everyone to have a look at what wholesale actually is, right? And the opportunities that could be presented to you as a wholesale seller, right? So for example, let's say you bought, I just put Oral-B there for the sake of it. Let's say you put any brand of toothpaste for 19 quid, right? And you sell it on Amazon for 35 quid. And we obviously take a profit of that. And that stock sells X amount of times a month. So in this case, I put 100 units a month. That's 600 quid in profit. Now, how we can scale this is by just developing a portfolio of more ASINs. It's as simple as that, and it does compound. And you've got to remember as well, a little tip for everyone who's made it this far in the video. If you've got one ASIN like that, okay, let's see, is there a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 4-pack? Because I promise you, if this one listing does 600 quid in profit, you'll be able to take this one product to above £1,000 just by looking through those ASINs, right? Now, let's compare wholesale to these other models. So you have arbitrage, online or retail, which is going into shops and scanning stock, or obviously purchasing stock online. Obviously, the risk is very high because you don't even know if there's going to be any stock there. Okay, IP is a huge issue with arbitrage. A lot of sellers take risks because they're like, okay, I've only got 5 units. I can send in the stock, get my money back without getting IP'd, but obviously that's a huge risk involved. The time involved is high. Obviously, you've got to go out into shops, drive around, and you don't know if you can find anything profitable, which again, that's high risk, high time as well. Private label, building a brand, the risk again is very high because we do not even know if the stock is going to sell. We don't know. We can spend all this money on ads, and not even make a dime, right? Not even make 1p. Okay, the risk is high and the time is very high, right? You've got to test products from China, order them in, quality assess them. There's very high time involved, right? Wholesale, we're reselling brands which already move well. The risk is low. We have data. We are literally purchasing based on data, right? We have everything there. It's just right in front of us. We just have to have the ability to understand and read the data. right, which presents us with pretty low risk, right? Once we've got these good relationships with suppliers, got these good relationships with brands, the risk is pretty low. However, the time is at medium. Now, why is it at medium? Because at the start, time will be involved, okay? But once you've outsourced, for example, I've done over 100K in the last 30 days on Amazon. I haven't spent more than an hour a day on the business. Why is that? Because all my systems are in place. Everything's been outsourced. There is a very, very low amount of time which I need to currently spend on the business. However, when I started all those years ago, I was working 12-hour days consistently, non-stop. So obviously at the start, high workloads involved, but obviously as you grow and scale the business, and essentially become a business owner rather than working in the business, the time involved reduces. So wholesale sits in the sweet spot whereby you've got low risk and very, very high potential. Now, what do we need to start wholesale, right? These are very, very, very basics, by the way, because if I was to talk about this in a bit more depth, this video would probably be more than 2 hours long, okay? And for the more in-depth help, like I said, you can book a call down below. What do we need to start? Obviously, you need your professional Amazon seller account. You need access to capital, at least $1,000, I recommend for wholesale. Access to suppliers, brands, wholesalers, distributors, not your basic ones which you see plastered everywhere on Google. In-depth, advanced strategies need to be used to find suppliers that will actually make you money doing wholesale. Obviously, you need a limited company there, which I haven't put there, but there's so much here. I've just got a few things here. Tools like Keeper, SellerAmp, Sellerboard, obviously Keeper to analyze historical data, evaluate how listings have performed previously, and reduce the amount of poor purchasing decisions that you make. SellerAmp, obviously for profit calculations, and also we use SellerAmp to help streamline the workflow for wholesale orders, whereby when we type in a cost of goods, they'll automatically be inputted through to a wholesale order form, essentially. And Sellerboard, obviously profit calculation is key. Sellerboard's great for us. We use it literally every day. And it's a software, obviously, which you're going to need to have when it comes to evaluating your profits, right? And also you need to have a basic knowledge of fees, VAT, and profit margins, obviously, because you need to know if you're making money or not. It's as simple as that. And also, very simply, the ability to contact suppliers, be able to talk to suppliers, hold negotiation with suppliers, hold relationships with suppliers, and open up accounts. However, many people fail with this because they do not understand the fundamentals of the wholesale business, right? They don't understand what their wholesale business actually is. For example, they'll contact suppliers, lie to these suppliers about what they do. No, you're shooting yourselves in the foot. You need to have a very in-depth understanding of your business so you're able to negotiate with these guys, offer value to these guys, and work with these guys closely. And you can only do that if you have a bulletproof business ethos and know exactly what your business does, right? Because if you don't, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. Final thoughts. Wholesale is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but that's obvious. Everyone here should know that. Put the work in and you will reap the rewards over the long term, I promise you. Whereby you are able to achieve time freedom and a long-term income. You've just got to have the right knowledge. Like I said, I can give you that right knowledge. Okay, if you click the link down below, we could work together if you're a good fit. But the other route you can take is put the hours in, dedicate the hours, dedicate the time, and you will understand it's not a get rich quick scheme, but you can make that long-term sustainable income and achieve the time freedom if you know what you're doing, you have the fundamentals in place, and you treat the business like a business, right? Too many people treat it like a side hustle, so they get nowhere with it. Okay, but wholesale, like I put here, is one of the most reliable and scalable Amazon models for the reasons we have discussed, right? And it's great for those who want the long-term income and develop time freedom, right? If you're approaching it correctly. And now, a last bullet point, systems and supply relationships will lead to compounding results over time. It's your relationships which will make or break your wholesale business, right? And if we have the right systems, the right fundamentals in place, the results that you'll see, I promise you, will be ones that you want to be seeing, right? So that's that. Very quick, short, well, I say quick, short is 15 minutes, but that video, just a very, very, very brief rundown on what wholesale is and a few little pointers about wholesale. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, drop any video suggestions down below as well, because I'm literally going to be making videos on every single aspect of wholesale. So if you comment down below, I'll just make whatever topic a bit quicker instead of doing it in my own pace. I'll prioritize your video. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.